Peace to the world. We are back live for another episode of the Think Music Podcast. This is episode number 24, and I am the Gnosis
And I'm the producer, Dap Dunlap.
in the building. What's good with you?
I'm out here doing human things. I'm pushing this vacuum cleaner with this backpack on my back. I'm mad sweaty right now. Pause. You
Mm,
know, I got my sauna suit on. I'm to the gym after this. You know what I'm saying? We out here grinding. So, um, but I'm in a good headspace. Um, my mom is doing way better. She's home. And
good to
me
hear.
and my brother appreciate that. And me and my brother are giving her 24-hour care and making sure her needs are met. And she's doing what she needs to do to strengthen her lungs and get back on track. So, at this moment, man, all is well. Thanks for all the prayers and well wishes, everyone that did that on my behalf for her. And yeah, man, that's what we got going on. Family's doing well. Talked to one of my sons the other day, and we had a good conversation. So, I think when I'm really an immediate family guy, and because I don't really have too much outside of that, especially at this age and where I'm at in my life. So, um, having things like talking to people and they're in good places, it's a blessing.
No doubt. No doubt. Always good to um have some peace. Peace is priceless. Let me see. I'm trying to pull my software up. Okay, I got one there. Keep that in the tuck. And then I need to open this one. Yeah, all is well here too. Um, don't want that. We rolling with the flow, keeping it keeping it popping. Um, thankful for
Yeah, did you say keeping it popping?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What's the inside joke?
Oh, that's one of your man's
Oh, is that a Yashism?
that's yeah, chism, huh? Keeping
Oh
it
man,
popping, huh? That's why I was like, oh, oh okay.
it's gonna keep it popping, man. Now I hear it. Yeah, man.
See?
We're just doing the damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a classic one right there. We're gonna get into one of these tracks from Brother Ubaya. I don't know how you guys say these names, but I think it's Ubaya. So get into one of these tracks.
It is what it is. First of all, I want to say, what's up to all my patrons and as people. This is mfacebook.com. There's people
Yeah,
here.
she got this joint down, bro. Oh, you got this joint down. Oh
And
man.
then they sign an affidavit. An affidavit. Everything's an affidavit, huh? Oh man. What's up, MJ? How you doing? What's up, Brianna?
MJ, peace, wifey, peace.
some of the alkaline.
Y'all need to get y'all some seawater. I mean, y'all know what I mean. Alkaline water.
Alkaline. Oh man. Up here in Colorado, there's no L. Completely remove the L from there. Colorado. All is well. All is well, MJ. How y'all making it down there in the Sunshine State?
Oh, okay. Done vacuuming.
Oh, you done?
Vacuuming. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I ain't even have to get into the filibustering. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I ain't had that much. I just had to do this little piece. I'm done now.
Well, as y'all can see, y'all, the title is The Mysteries of the Mercy Seat.
Mysteries of the Mercy Seat.
What's up, C Truth?
See truth, peace. I can't see the chat. I'm working.
MJ says hot down there. It's hot as hell in Texas too. It was in mid-90s today.
We had a little rain come through, so we was mid-80s.
Yeah, that's mild. Mid-80s.
Yeah, we supposed to have that for a couple of days because you know that it's another hurricane out off the Atlantic right now. So that's a little bit. That's part of the reason why we mild. I think when we swing back around to Monday, we might get back to some early 90s somewhere in there. But yeah, they're like, we already got 14 hurricanes. It's like 77 more. Well, at that time, 77 more days to go of hurricane season. So they're saying we might break some type of record, maybe.
Yeah, they're gonna keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, C True. Brianna said it's still humid though.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yep, she's right. Every night. I'd be having to drive home with my defrost on. Bye-bye.
So the title is the Mysteries of the Mercy Seat. And gonna try to do our best to unpack this. But to give a little backdrop, before I get into my portion, I guess we're gonna talk about a conversation that in reference to some of the past broadcasts, and maybe it was broadcasts or past conversations, because we were talking about, the big push towards the gig economy in one of our conversations. Yeah, this was a conversation. We probably talked about this on the show too. But the big push to the gig economy, and it's about that there has to be an emphasis. I was stressing that there needs to be an emphasis on, well, what can people do? What skills do people have to bring to the table?
Right.
And that some people may not have been working towards developing skills, and some have. And I guess we'll see how that unfolds. And then that led, he said in another conversation, well, it led him to thinking about his skill set, you know. And so what they're gonna do is I'm gonna pass him the baton, but after he gives his representation of how this unfolded for him, we're gonna go into looking at his name and how that applies to aspects of his chart, and that will then tie in to the topic, mysteries of the mercy seat. And you know, do our best to try to weave all this. Okay, Brianna said my sound is so. Can you hear me, Dap?
Yes, I hear you.
So Brianna, is it like low? Am I not able to be heard, or I'm recording off of this the computer? I gotta get me a let me check that's the little test on the Yeah, I gotta get me a focus right. So I can actually use my mic. But do you want to go in?
Sure. You ready for me?
Yeah, it's on you.
Oh, okay, my bad. So we're having this conversation, and during the conversation, you know, Jamal was saying, you know, what are people, you know, what skill sets do people have? What, you know, what can you do basically other than your job? And we was just talking about if everything went down, if the system went down, how could you be valuable for yourself and your family? What can you bring to the table? And it got me thinking, and I was like, what's my skill set? What's my skill set? And honestly, I couldn't really think of nothing. And I was just like, if something came down, like, what can I do? Like, outside of just some physical labor, what would be my bartering position? And I'm thinking, and he's been talking about this for probably a month. And like I said, I can't remember. He may have said something on the podcast, but we definitely talked about it in our personal conversations. So I'm cleaning the other day. I'm at work, I'm cleaning, I'm mopping. I'm like, and it pops up that in high school, I've had about two for sure, maybe 2.5 years of brick masonry. Now, as you know, for those who are in my age bracket, and I'm not sure about other states, but I know in Pennsylvania, when I was in high school, we had a VOTEC program because, as y'all know, VOTEC was promoted. It was pretty much for people that I'm not going to say it was for that, but if you didn't go to college, you could go to VOTEC and learn a skilled trade. So, my VOTEC had brick masonry. They had carpentry. They had digital design, even way back then. Like, I think it was called graphic arts back then. They had welding and what's the joint when you're dealing with plants and flowers? Horticulture, something like that. And they had electrical. So in your freshman year, you know, you get to pick three, I think, and then in your fourth semester, you did the, you know what I mean. You made a choice. I think in your fourth semester, you did the one you chose, and then your sophomore year, that's what you did your whole time at Votech when you went to Votech. So I tried welding. I burned my thumb. I tried graphic design. Wasn't really into that. And I tried brick masonry. And I took to brick masonry. I could like that was something I could do. And you know, and one thing about how Votech worked was, well, our particular teacher, oh, you could take, and just for clarity, you could take automotive classes to learn how to work on cars. That was also in Votech. And some Votechs had plumbing too, but not my particular one. So so I take the class and I'm learning how to, you know, build minor structures. You know what I'm saying? We would go in class, the teacher would say, hey, look, we're going to build the wall this week. You know, we would build the wall. He would come by, look at your wall, judge it, make sure it's level, make sure it's plumbed. We learn how to make our cement, you know, and then we learn how to work the trowel, which is, you know, what you use to put the cement down on top of the bricks. We learn how to break a brick so you can have your corner angle to make it flush, you know, square. And that was something that I had took to, and I did it for a while. And to be honest with you, I still know how to do it. And that's when it was like, yo, that's my skill set. Like if something happened, like I can use my brick masonry skill set. And, you know, I was telling Jamal about it, and he was like, you know, when his man has always needed a place to live. And it just dawned on me like, okay, cool, that's that. And then it went even further. I was like, you know, let me see if I could just find me some, maybe used, new, or what have you, just to start working on it and brushing up on it. You know, just in case. So that was my revelation of like, yo, so I do have a skill set. It's brick masonry. You know, I take it a little further. Like my wife know how to fish. I could fish a little bit, but my wife know how to fish. She knows how to start a fire. I don't know. I've never caught fish and skinned them and gutted them and all of that. But I think if push came to shove and you need some sustenance, you're gonna learn how to do that. She can build a fire. She know how to pitch a tent. So I'm like, me and my wife together, like if something was to happen, like we would be able to take care of ourselves off the land. You know, and then just adding on, like we were at Barnes and Nobles last week. She bought a herbal book and she's looking into those things. So yeah, that's what I came up with. I found my skill set and I was telling Jamal about it. And then he had a revelation.
Yep. Were you gonna expound, or you want me to?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'll let you take that part, but I'll just say when he told me about it, well, he'll get into it, and I'll just chime in. Because when he first told me, I'm like, yo, like my mom comes up with my name, and like it made me think like our lives are designed by something higher than us, because he's gonna tie it in with the astrology. And it just made me feel like, yeah, I think we have some sort of free will, but the way he tied this in with the astrology, my name, and my mom, not my mom, like what part do she play? But obviously she's part of the design. So there's something special there.
Mm-hmm. Well, to that, I feel that we do have free will, um, but I also feel like there is there is such a thing as a destiny, and there is such thing as fate. Free will is the eastern side of the chart. Fate and destiny is the west side of the chart, and you know, um, we have the will to search for our destiny, i.e., path, or we also had the free will to not. You know,
Yes, I was just thinking that. I'm glad you said that because that popped right in my head. Like you can deny your destiny.
and there are certain and I believe there are many roads that can lead to your destiny. I think it's kind of a quantum model. There could be an infinite number of roads that align with your destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do feel strongly, and it's a theory that I came up with, and my theory was that from first of all, I want to read something that really made me feel uh, better about just how my approach to doing things. What's this? What was I looking up? Go back. This is a line of. Let me see. Either way, I ain't gonna worry about trying to find this. It was something I read this lady wrote in an article. Um, um, basically, I came up with this theory. Okay, I've mentioned this before. I do this thing called a 360 reading, and a 360 reading is a birth chart reading, but it's also incorporates the numerology of associated with the name and birth time or date of birth, um, and the etymology of the name. Um, now, I haven't found anything of yet in any of the books I've studied about that says, a direct correlation between a person's name and the layout of their birth chart. It was pretty much theoretical at first. And then, all you got is, your immediate family to look at and analyze yourself. Um, but then I started doing it in people's charts, and there's something to it. Um, so when I looked at depths, um, it amazingly lined up. Now, that we could argue about how I look at the name and break it down, um, but basically, here's my approach. His name is Tyrone. Okay. Now, what I told him was when I first hear the name Tyrone, what jumps out is Tyree, because Tyrone is Tyr. Tyree begins with Tyr. And it brought me back to the story that I first learned about from C. Freeman L. He was the one who brought this to mind, the story. And I'm going to read a little bit. It's in First Kings. And, you know, we must say peace to the God, C. Freeman L.
C. Freeman L, a legend.
True legend. This is coming out of First Kings chapter 7. And we read, starting at verse 13, a King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre. He was a widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali, and his father was a man of Tyre, a worker in brass. And he was filled with wisdom and understanding and cunning to work all works in brass. And he came to King Solomon and wrought all his work. Okay. Now, we know that the whole thing of Hiram Abiff is key in Masonic lore. Okay. Hiram is Hiram. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Ram associated with Aries. Aries is the head. And the head, i.e., Aries, is associated with the first house in the chart. Okay.
All right.
But that's just one tidbit. But more importantly, who is Hiram? Hiram is a builder. He's a builder. And later on, we're going to touch on the fact that he came from the tribe of Naphtali, because that's going to tie. Well, we'll come back to that. So Tyre, when you trace that, Tyre means tower builder. Okay, we come back to builder again. Tyre is also associated with the Etruscans. Okay, now, and here's how the Bible is not just esoteric stories. It also has some historical significance, but it's shrouded in mythology, because Tyre, as the Etruscans, when they say that Hiram Abiff was a worker in brass, this is directly aligns with the Etruscans. In this book here by Michael Grant does a lot of, he's a historian. He's got a lot of books out on different subjects, and this book is the Etruscans. Okay. And in the back here, it says he's citing another book, and it says horns and trumpets were Etruscan inventions.
Miles
Now,
Davis, John Coltrane.
Horns and trumpets belong to what category of instruments?
Brass. So not only do we see the correlation between Hiram with being a builder, but also with music.
the trumpet, the brass, which would lead us to jazz.
See
Okay.
what you did there. Yeah.
All right. Continuing along, though, in your chart, which I'll pull up here. Oh, hold on. What am I doing? I got to hit the share button. Okay, share screen. Bada bing. That's the one. Boom. Now I need to go and find. Okay, can you see the chart?
Yes.
I don't know why.
Yep, it's up.
Sucker big. Let me see. I'm trying to get it to where we're still on the screen though.
Yeah, I see you. We on the side. That is how I set it up when I do my lives. How I make the where you can see the machine stuff real big, and then I'm on the side in the little squares. So we're both there.
Okay, what you see now?
Now I see the background.
Okay.
You had it the first time. There you go, right there.
Okay. This thing is I can't see nothing. All I see is the chart. But
Yeah. So that's what happened. You only gonna be able to see the chart, I think.
yeah, but normally I can see everything. But I guess this is some new software, so I guess it's how it's gonna flow with this one. Okay, either way, first house here.
Oh, you got to
is-
go back to the. You got to go back to Yeah, you got to go back to the home screen. But yeah, you got to go back to that. But where you can't see us, where we can't see that though. I think it has something to do at the bottom. When you go to the screen where you need to share, yeah, I think if you click on that, then you might be good. Click on yeah, there. Oh no, that ain't it either.
Hold on, let me try one more again. I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna move this over here. And I'm gonna see if it'll work if I'll do it this way. That one. There we go. Now I got it up. Chart.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, that's dope.
Okay.
We got the Moorish legacy in the background and everything. Yeah, that's fire.
Okay.
So the brass.
So the first house in your chart is Capricorn. Okay.
All right.
Now Capricorn is an earth sign, but Capricorn is a builder. Why? Because Capricorn is the structural part. If we just take the grand man with Adam Cadman, the grand man, Capricorn is the structure. It's the bones. Capricorn would be the muscles. Capricorn would be the skin. So it is what fortifies, provides structure to the human vessel. It's the builder. It's the structure. It has help in building it. We could say Virgo.
Mm-hmm.
We could say Taurus, the earth signs, period. Very tangible energies. But your first house is the structure itself, Capricorn, which would lend to the idea of Tyree being a builder. Does that
Gotcha.
make sense?
Yep. I'm
It
starting to have
says,
some revelation too, man, as you're talking.
mhm. um, something else I wanted to, and so here's the other thing where it comes. Now, going further, I'm gonna stop this share for right now. Going further, it says that Tyree was from the tribe of Naphtali. Okay. Now, um, Naphtali means to wrestle, struggle. Now, I'm trying to put all this because I'm doing all this pretty much off the top of my head, remembering where I went with this stuff because it was so much stuff that was just coming. Um, the other day, I was doing a reading for a lady, and we get to the end of the reading, and she lets me know that her mother was Jewish. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and the lady said that she um, considers herself to be a Christian, but her mother was a practiced the Jewish faith, and she said that this was on the 15th. She said tomorrow is Yom Kippur. September 16th was Yom Kippur. Now, I felt as though the Spirit had delivered that to me because it was known that my spidey senses would go off, that I would be like, I want to show something. This is something we've talked about in the past. My personal opinion is that for me, I build a library not to necessarily feel like I'm going to read every book in here. It is, I gather things like you're not going to go in your pantry and literally sit in there and try to eat everything in there. You stock up your pantry because you want to have different foods for different occasions, and you want to be prepared.
Yes.
So I bought this book years ago, The Seven Festivals of the Mashiach or Messiah. Okay.
All right.
And so this book goes in and breaks down all the different festivals. I want to share some things about Yom Kippur, and I think it ties in to our conversation because along with the revelation about, well, what's my skill, and the skill lining up with the structural component of or aspect of Capricorn in the first house, you know, and there's so many ways we can look at that. We can look at it as, you know, the first house is your identity. You know, it, the brick masonry could be representing building a new identity. It can be tangible, literal, building a structure, and on a metaphorical, building a new identity. You know, especially with Pluto moving across your ascendant. Your ascendant is at 27 degrees of Capricorn. Um, so when we look at this Yom Kippur, I want to read some stuff, some of my notes. Yom Kippur is called the Day of Atonement. Okay.
All right.
But if you remember that when you and I were on the phone with my cousin, what he said about when he looked up relative to the Genesis story about creation, about on the sixth day and the seventh day, do you remember what he said? The word day was in Hebrew and Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
It's Yom. Yom Kippur. But the thing about Yom is not a day as we know it. It's a cycle.
Right. A cycle.
It's a cycle.
Yes.
Okay. And
That
so
was a good conversation we had with the brother.
Yom Kippur means Day of Atonement. But Day of Atonement really means cycle. Everybody need to peek their ears up right now. It means cycle of atonement. A day in Hebraic and Arabic is, as it associates with the word Yom, is a cycle. Okay. Now, just a sidebar. On Monday, the 20th, we'll have a full moon at 20 degrees of 28 degrees of Pisces. Now, what's significant about that is that Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. 28 degrees is next to the last degree of the sign. Yom Kippur was 4 days before the full moon at 28 degrees of Pisces.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
So I think this is a Yom Kippur that is very special. Okay. Now, the Day of Atonement, the word atonement, you got to look at that word. To atone, A-T-O-N-E. If you split that up, what you really have is at one. At one, ment means mind. At one mind. That's a Piscean concept. You know, the unconscious where everything is all one, the universal mind, the great pool. That's Pisces. Okay. On the Day of Atonement, the priest could be in God's presence, as in face to face.
Right.
The priest made 3 trips into the Holy of Holies. After the ritual, the young, unmarried men and women went to dance in the fields to choose spouses for themselves. Now I want y'all to listen to what I'm saying now. Now, anybody who considers themselves to be a practicing Jew would say that their beliefs don't hinge on astrology. But listen to what it says. After the ritual, the young unmarried men and women went to dance in the fields to choose spouses for themselves. Does anybody have an idea what house in the zodiac that would refer to? If anybody put it in the chat. The young unmarried men and women went to dance in the fields and to choose spouses for themselves. Okay. That represents Libra. That's the 7th house. Now, what's important about that is that the 7th house is associated with the kidneys, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The 7th house follows the 6th house, which is associated with the digestive system. And then you have the 8th house, which is associated with the eliminatory systems. You know? Now here's what I'm trying to piece this all together so it makes sense. The Holy of Holies represents your hips on your body.
This is where your reproductive organs are.
Well, everything. That's right. Your hips.
Sits, yeah.
Pelvic bone. Now, more specifically, it represents your core muscles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When the high priest entered the Holy of Holies, he saw the Lord's presence as a brilliant cloud hovering above the mercy seat. Well, we get the title, Mysteries of the Mercy Seat. The word for mercy seat in Hebrew is kaporet. It comes from the root word kafir, which is the same word used for atonement. So that's kafir or kapur for atonement. The mercy seat is described in detail in Exodus. He gives the chapters. Okay. I want to show y'all something. This is the tree of life. Bring it in focus. I want to direct your attention to this right here. Can you see that, Dap? Can everybody see that? What does that say? Mercy. Okay. If I turn this up down, look at the thumbnail that I use for this video. Look at this glyph again. What does that look like? That's a throne. Look at the glyph of Jupiter. That's a throne. That's the mercy seat. And look, what term is used here associated with Jupiter? Mercy.
Yeah, that's dope.
Okay, what does that ultimately mean? That Jupiter represents your gifts that you come into an incarnation with. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you go through this vocational program and you went through welding, I didn't really like that.
Mm-hmm.
Went through graphic design, it's not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then you stumbled into brick masonry. I think I
Right.
can do this. I can build structures with bricks. Well, it would make sense with the name of Tyrone, Tyree, the builder, in Capricorn in the first house, the house of structure. Okay.
Yes.
Jupiter, and I haven't even looked at this in your chart. Jupiter is in Aries. Okay. But either way, and I have to look at that and unpack that. But let's just take Jupiter. Um, um, you know, that's interesting. Saturn is in because Saturn rules Capricorn, your first house. It's in the seventh, but Jupiter is exalted in Cancer where Saturn is. So, hey, mute your phone down for a
All
second.
right. My bad. Yep.
So Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So that means it has dispositorship in that sign. So that means it has say in the health of Saturn, which is the ruling sign of your first house. And Jupiter is in the sign of identity, Aries. So Jupiter is the mercy that a person has in their chart, i.e., it can show you where um some of your gifts lie, i.e., the mercy seat. And there's something else Dap said though too was about Dap. If you can chime in, you there?
Okay.
Okay. We want to take this because I mentioned about 6, 7, and 8 represent your core muscles in the body. Okay. The fifth house, the heart. The ninth house, the thighs. Between your heart and your thighs, damn, I don't even have a chart up here. I'm talking like people can see. Well, hell, y'all can help. Between the heart and the thighs are your digestive system, um, and your reproductive system. And those make up what's called the core. All right. Now, if you don't mind, if you'll go back um to something you said, I don't know if it's the other yesterday or the other day about um people having to go within and basically facing their
Oh, so yeah, it was so um when this was when I was at the mission that I had to stop and look at myself, ask myself hard questions, and then I also had to begin to talk to people that I needed answers from about certain things. And that was a process that I was helped by seeing someone else do it. And it led me to do it. And I had to come face to face with myself, and ask myself the hard questions of, why have you said certain things? Why have you done certain things? And and then I also had to confront others. Like I had to talk to my kid's mother. I had to talk to my parents, and and that I was not that I was asking them to give me their deepest, darkest secrets, but I had to ask them, some aspects about themselves, at least that they were willing to tell me, to see how, their genes may have played in mine, and then and then, you know, who am I? It ties into who am I myself, and then what did I get from them that's making me outside of outside of what's divine. And yeah, I think that was I think that was it. I think it was a little more, but
I think that's a good segue. I want to read something. Genesis chapter 13. Peace Wise Feminine and Peace Flex, Peace Yoel. See who else? Anybody else? Okay. Genesis chapter 32, starting at verse 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled. There's that word again. Wrestled. Naphtali. Wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. Where did I go to 32?
Yeah, I had a feeling you was gonna read that, bro.
So check this out. If Jacob was injured in the hollow of his thigh, that's his hip. That's part of his core.
Mm-hmm.
The core in the chart is 8, 7, 6. 6, your work. 7, relationship. 8, debts or the karma of the relationship. And also insecurities. This
Mm-hmm.
is what super conscious people call, you've got to do your shadow work, but they never fucking tell you what it is. Well, this is here it is. You just described it.
And listen, in that same passage, doesn't he say that happened in the place? They named the place Penal,
Peniel.
and some say that's the pineal gland.
Right.
So it always made me think like he did the work in his with it was a mental thing.
It was
Like it was in his mind.
it was Yom Kippur. When that's what I'm trying to put all together. Yom
Mm-hmm.
Kippur means Day of Atonement. And that also means face to face. The priest would go into the Holy of Holies. The Holy of
Yep.
Holies is the hips. because the hips transfer energy from the lower part of your body up to the upper part of your body. The hips is where the sacrum bone is connects to. The word sacrum comes from the same root as sanctuary. So the sanctuary is in the Holy of Holies. It's all down there in the hips.
Mm.
And so this is where the work goes. And this is where we go to come face to face with the divine.
Mm. That also makes me think about the Ark of the Covenant, which they say that's where God dwelled.
Same thing.
And right, and it was in a box, which if you're looking at your core and your intestines and your reproductive system, it's in a rectangle in your, well, like a box in your body.
Here's the other thing. The word hip etymologically traces back to the word cube.
Mm.
So when
Hellraiser.
the cube, that's right. Hellraiser, but also
The movie The Cube.
When a Muslim makes Hajj,
He goes to the Kaaba.
he goes to Mecca and walks around the Kaaba cube 7 times.
Yep. What did the Transformers say? They were getting energon cubes.
Cubes. Okay. Okay, let's go a step further though.
Mm-hmm.
When you open up the cube, what do you have? How many sides are on a cube?
4.
6. Front, back.
Oh, yeah.
Side, top, bottom. 6.
Bottom, yeah.
Joel got it. It's the cross.
I was thinking of a square. Yeah. When you open it up, it's a cross. Yes.
It's a cross. When Jacob wrestles the divine and day breaks, he crossed over. Let's pull up your chart. He crossed over the horizon. Day broke. He was injured in his hip. He continued to wrestle until he crossed over. Now, I mentioned this book that my man Young E turned me on to, Astrology and the Rising Kundalini. It's a smoker. This is by Barbara Hand Claw. What she brings to light is that until you get to the 3rd house, you're basically kind of working horizontally. 1st to 7, 2 to 8, you're moving kind of horizontal, relatively speaking. But when you get to 3, which is the Gemini house in Sagittarius, you're now moving somewhat vertical. And this is representing the rise of Kundalini. Now, mind you, what did we just say? That these houses, 6 through 8, we could associate with the core, the Holy of Holies. And so they are leading up to what? The 9th house. And the 9th house is the spiritual house. So what I'm saying is, I don't think all of this stuff is disconnected. I feel like Yom Kippur comes up on the 16th. You have this revelation. Oh, Oh yeah, I know how to do brick masonry. But at first there was this feeling of emptiness. And I know not to make it sound overly dramatic, but I mean literally the feeling of, well, what do I have to offer? That I'm associating that with some feeling of, well, damn, of a feeling of lack. That that
Right.
that's that's all of these. That's the insecurity in the eighth house. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's a modicum of shadow work. Okay, setting up this revelation. This revelation of, you know what? I do have something. You know, and it's funny because the North Node is in your sixth house right now, Gemini.
The
So
flip.
the transiting North Node is like, it says, where's the area that we should be paying attention to in our lives, and we should be trying to utilize the opposite energy to drive us toward that arena of our life. So, you know, you have Neptune in Sagittarius. So that means an ability to absorb ideas of higher consciousness.
Been on that since a youth.
Pushing you towards a more practical usage of your skills in the sixth house, the house of work. Oh, I can do brick masonry.
Wow.
Full moon.
Heavy stuff. Lines up right with Yom Kippur. They right into the cycle. So what does this cycle mean?
I think I want to say something. I think everything always has there's always a macrocosmic effect and a microcosmic. Now I want to read something in here for the macrocosm. And because we've been focusing on the individual level. I just want to, because I think this is very interesting. That's why I think this Yom Kippur is special. I think that's why it fell in my lap. God gave this ceremony of the casting of lots during Yom Kippur to teach us how he will judge the nations of the world prior to the messianic age known as the millennium. The nations of the world will be judged according to how they treated the Jewish people. Now, I hope everybody out there, I feel we have a learned audience. So
go into your Larry Gators. Man of God.
Man of God. Man of God, I'm tingling, man of God.
And we're not disparaging any Jews here or nothing.
Mm-hmm. We're definitely, because we're talking to the Jews, i.e., we are the Jews. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, that's what he was getting at, but he didn't want to scare folk.
We are the Yehudi. The nations of the world will be judged according to how they treated the Yehudi people. Those nations who mistreated the Yehudi, the Jews, will be goat nations, and they will go into the left hand. Those nations that stood beside the Jewish people will be sheep nations and will enter into the messianic kingdom or the millennium. That's for the macrocosm. I think this is I think this Yom Kippur and this full moon is very special.
Yes. And it's a buildup because over the years, videos have popped up of Hasidic Jews saying they're not the original Jews.
It's very interesting times. Something else I want to throw in here. This just from for the macrocosm. During there are these three festivals where in Hebrew the trumpet is referred to as the shofar. There are three primary shofarim, trumpets. The three trumpets are the first trump, blown and associated with Shavuot, which is Pentecost. The last trump, blown and associated with Rosh Hashanah. And then there's the great trump, blown and associated with Yom Kippur. So we have incarnated in very interesting times. And
you know, it's funny that now we could say that it's surface level and it doesn't really mean anything, but it is put in the atmosphere that ever since, and I'm not a BLM guy. Like I know that's not real, so I don't fall under that pretense. But it's funny with this Yom Kippur information and what you just said about countries that have done the Yehuda wrong. All of a sudden, a lot of businesses are trying to become more inclusive. Different industries are trying to be more, just shall we say, just open to bringing different people of quote unquote color in. And you know, on the surface, you say, "Oh, that's just lip service." And you know, last year I think you had tech companies talking about they're going to put 50 billion into inclusion and all of these different things. But it just made me think of that. I got a download of like, because we always talk about the elite understanding the time, and we always, you know, I'm not going to say always, but we look at it from a standpoint of control. But at the same time, we also believe that the divine can step in. And I don't know. I just got that download of that, you know, this could be people trying to right a wrong right at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it doesn't go anywhere, I'm just talking on paper. It may not go nowhere, but on paper, it's been put out there. Now I don't know if they're going to practice what they preach or what have you, but it's been put out there in the public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't think right is within their constitution. But I do think pacification definitely is. If you can pacify people with the
To a different time, to a different time comes upon us.
right. Um, just to see things through, because it's never about what's right.
Hmm.
That's for sure.
And I was telling Brianna that it just takes me back to the tragedy and hope, man. How has these people have not? How has this current system, every time it's time for them to fail, by his research of how civilizations fell, this one has always averted that. And I know you tied it back into the stars before when we said it, but that was just something that popped in my mind also a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The pacification, as you just said, is to get through a cycle. If they could pacify the people from reaching the next level of thinking, which is why you get all your terrible foods, why you get all the programming. If we keep you programmed and calcified, this is why they never preach good health. You never hear the president come on TV and say, everybody needs to get in the gym and get healthy.
Yeah.
Right? So pacify the people, get through a cycle, and then because we understand the cycles, we know what's coming on the other end, and then we can continue to run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, we've been saying this. When has there been a time, at least in our lifetime, that something has been pushed as much as this has been pushed to get everybody within the same thing? And to where the president is talking to corporations about mandating it. I mean, where have we, like, this is, it still bugs me out.
Yeah. And
So something big is on the horizon. Not to cut your wisdom.
yeah. And oh man, what was up?
Which ties into what you just said about this Yom Kippur. We're about to enter a cycle.
Oh, this what I was gonna say. The what's so significant about Pisces too is that it's an absorptive, beyond this world energy frequency. And if people, the more and more people that adopt a certain mindset, the more it grows. You know, media, if any of you all get a chance, check out some of the writings of Marshall McLuhan, who was a media critic in the 1960s. The Media is the Massage is one of his books. The Mechanical Bride is another one. And the thing is, the purpose of media is an extension of know what the hell just fell in here. It's an extension of the word propaganda, which was invented by the Roman Catholic Church. The book, his name is Sir Lawrence Gardner. I can't remember now. I got the book over there, but he talks about how that word was invented by the Roman Catholic Church. The word propaganda, you know, and so that's the purpose of media, propaganda, you know, and then people, somebody said, yeah, Yoel said they become enchanted, you know, and then that thing grows. That's the dark side of Pisces. I think that line just dropped out. But yeah, that's the dark side of it. It is the oh, there he goes. It is getting lost into, literally lost in the sauce, you know. And the beautiful thing about the zodiac that I love, and it's just the design is just, there's something to counter every energy. There's Pisces, it's like the energy of leave this world behind, you know, could possibly be the illusion, the Maya, and then there's the opposite of it is the grounding energy, you know, a Virgo, you know, the here and now, what's in front of me, my ability to pick through what's in front of me and discriminate. You know, discrimination is not always bad. You know, discrimination in its pure essence allows you to determine what's the difference between this and that, to compare things and then to make a judgment call, you know. And so that's a very necessary tool to have in your tool bag. To be discerning is to be discriminatory, you know, as its place. But yeah, that's all I wanted to chime in on that.
I'm in this kitchen, man. I tried to put you on speaker, but I couldn't hear you like before, where I was able to clean and kind of put the mic in the room where it echoed in there. But I think because you using something different, it might not be that loud. I don't know if you could turn it up. But now I can hear you with my headphones on, but when I take them out, I can't hear you. That it's not that loud through my phone speaker, where I was able to position my phone on the trash can, and so I could be in the kitchen working while you was talking and then chime in. I couldn't really hear what you said. I didn't have it in, so I didn't know what you was talking about to be able to chime in. I was down there trying to get started. I'm almost done. But yeah, man, I think that revelation tells us that something is on the horizon. And you know, some people may know, and you know, maybe that's why the push for the, you know, inoculation is being um, hasten. If we're looking at it, like you said on the macro level, um, that could be a reasoning why. Because me and Brianna was talking probably last week, and we only know the news. We get world news, but it's never really world news. And there's turmoil going on all around the world. We just can't see it, but there is. And the people at the so-called bottom are getting tired. They're tired of government. They're tired of other people being in control. And we're gonna come to uh it's gonna come to a head. And I don't know what that looks like, but I think it ties back into whatever may happen in our society. What is your skill set? What are you going to be able to do for yourself? Because as things collapse, all you're going to have is your immediate family, and in some cases, whoever's in your home, because your family kind of spread out, and what can you bring to the table to sustain yourself? What can you bring to the table for sustenance? You know, so I think it's about going in and loo- looking at yourself in a real way, see what your shortcomings are, work on those to get yourself into a strong mental place, and then be prepared for what may come. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or none of that stuff. I'm just being honest, because when we look at history, we know things fall, and um and we know things fail, and people live through those times. I don't know if that's going to be in our time, but it's like you always say with the astrology. It's allowing you to see things so you can at least be prepared. Like the weatherman. It's rain possibly tomorrow. You bring an umbrella. May not rain, it may rain, but you got your umbrella. So yeah, we've been me and Jamal been talking about individualism for years, and and not in a selfless way or selfish way, but more in a sense of sitting with yourself and trying to you know get yourself together,
Nah,
especially at our age. My bad.
nah, you good. I was just saying, yeah, I just I agree. You know that there's something I want to say just to wrap up. I think everybody needs to go back if you feel inclined and watch Wreck-It Ralph 1 and Wreck-It Ralph 2. Ralph Breaks the Internet.
I gotta pull that up. I gotta pull that. I'll probably do that this weekend. Sit down and tie into that. I hope both of them are still on Netflix.
Nah, I don't know if
Disney Plus.
I don't know. I ain't got Disney Plus. I don't know.
Okay.
I just went and got the copy, so I ain't,
Oh, I got you. I got you. Yeah. Yeah.
because I couldn't find them on, you know. But one thing on Record Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet. I don't now, I'm just gonna tell some of the what happens because it was mind blowing to me. In the movie, Ralph and Vanellope are the main characters, and she's bored in her game because she knows all of the roads and she knows she's going to win. She's the best driver. And so Ralph, which represents like Pluto, scorpionic type energy, um, he goes and just creates this whole different path for her, like a different racetrack, so she could have, get some enjoyment and have something new. So the little girl who's at the arcade who's trying to play the game, she's got the steering wheel and she can't control it because the person in the game, Vanellope, she's taking control. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, um, the girl, the human in so-called real life who's trying to regain control, she struggles so much that the steering wheel breaks. So that's what the whole dilemma is in the movie. They're trying to find a steering wheel to replace the game because if there's no steering wheel, then that game will be unplugged and that world will come to an end. Okay. So she and Ralph discover the internet. And so they get on the internet and they find eBay. Now, when they show eBay, they show all these different um, when they show get on eBay, they show all these different items you can get on eBay. Okay, they got somebody on there who's bidding something on some Beyonce thing. You know how eBay works.
Right.
Well, they show a prosthetic hip
Mm.
for sale on eBay. And this hip, if you pay attention, the hip is shaped just like the steering wheel that fits on the game in the arcade.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, yeah,
Come on. After everything you just said tonight, come on.
yeah.
Ezekiel's will, come on. Wow.
So here's the thing. Um, when you read the Quran, they talk about, Allah, 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 but at certain points they'll say we did this. We. Okay, who is we?
Mm.
In the Bible, when you read in Genesis at a certain point, it says we. Okay. Now those we, when you read the Gnostic text, we could say those are the archons. Okay. Now originally there were 7 of them. There were also 7 planets originally in traditional astrology. I'm gonna have to mute you for a minute.
All right.
There were 7 planets in traditional astrology. Now, here's the question. Oh, before I say that, the planets in Hindu lore are referred to as grabbers. They're called grahas. Like the Indian drama for the planets is called the Navagrahas. Okay, grab as in grapple. Now, earlier in the conversation, we talked about Jacob wrestled, i.e., grappled with the divine energy. It said that Hiram Abiff was from the tribe of Naphtali. Naphtali means wrestle. To wrestle is to grapple. To grapple is to grab. Now, the little girl in the arcade, we could almost say she represents an archon because she is grabbing the steering wheel. Now, here's the question, and this is rhetorical. What happens when the grabber is completely removed? Is everybody really, really prepared for the grabber to be completely removed? Because in the movie, when the steering wheel was broke, everybody, all the characters in Sugar Rush went flying out of Sugar Rush because they saw the manager of the arcade put the out of order sign up on the display, and they knew. And then they saw him unplugging the game. They knew they had to escape from the game before he unplugged it. Because they were not prepared for their world to end. Um, and so one way that the archons are normally presented is that they are a group of entities that are trying to hold down the true divinity of the people, of the quote unquote chosen ones here. But one thing astrology does is it presents a perspective that makes you have to say, because I watch people grabbed throughout the day by the energies. They're grabbed, you know. There's a malefic aspect between Mars and Pluto, and you can go out and see the people grabbed by the energy exchange between Mars opposing Pluto. You can see people, you can see when Venus ingresses Scorpio, you can see the insecurities of people become so apparent and worn on their sleeves, and you can see the the um the lack of control, and how they don't understand boundaries. You can see it. And so we can say, yeah, look at the archons grabbing them. But then again, there are those who start learning how to work with these energies. And then you start wondering, are they really working to inhibit me, or are they pure expressions that I must learn how to master? Are they really against me? Or am I being challenged to learn how to master them? Are they waiting on me to master them? Because those energies correlate with hormones, correlate with um, the nervous system, correlate with um, the functions of the body. So just something to, I think they're very interesting movies, and I think they're worth going to watch and check out. It's always worthwhile to consider alternative perspectives. And that's all I got.
They're waiting on us. It's my thought. I think after you've been beat down, and if you into this information, period, and you understand some of the moves that have been made by these constructs, then you know that there's some tomfoolery going on. We understand that with the food, education systems, the whole shebang. So once you get into the understanding of that, then it's on us to right the ship for us. And when you begin to right the ship for yourself, that's when these type of understandings come through. You start finding like-minded people. You start finding, you know, someone that you can bounce ideas off. You're not afraid to share your ideas, your thoughts. And then becoming in tune with yourself, understanding your downloads when they come through. I'm still human, but I find myself not really um not really, I'm not gonna say feeling attached to the world, but I guess just like with the understanding, I feel like I don't fall for what I fell for before. I don't fall for what the system offers anymore.
Hmm.
Now it's just all about understanding the system, how it maneuvers, and then finding how are you going to maneuver within it. You know, there's a scene in the Matrix in Revolutions and they're bringing the Nebuchadnezzar back to Zion, and um, the Sentinels are on their hills, and Nairobi is driving Morpheus's ship, and she says he's like, we're not gonna be able to get back to Zion the regular route. We're gonna have to take like a sewer route or something. And Nairobi said, I can get us there. Show me the way. And he's like, have you ever been down into the sewers? Like people haven't navigate that. It's a lot. Basically it's a lot going on down there. It's a lot of obstruction. She looked at him and said, I can get us there. Tighten her seatbelt. And obviously, in the movie they made it through. But that's where we're at. We're about to hit uncharted territory, possibly. Because I don't want to sound like a doomsday guy. But you're gonna have to tap within yourself to navigate what may come. And only you gonna be able to do it. Your significant other, they're gonna have to tighten up. You got to put a whole new mindset on. Where you was just, uh, walking in the lily field. Now you got to put a more, you have to harden yourself a little more. For what may come. Because if I seen somebody posted in the chat. I think Brianna said something about it, like from the Wreck-It Ralph movie, like when pulling the plug is like an EMP attack. They've been talking EMP attacks for years. George Norrie been talking about that for years. You know what I'm saying? Is that pre-programming? Is he controlled opposition? You could throw that in the air, but we have to think about these things. You know what I'm saying? We just got some banking information. The bank that we use for our business, you need to have a corporate account, and they're changing their banking rules. Things are changing right underneath us. That, and it's a little more detail than that, but just say they're telling us you got to have a certain amount of money in the bank, or you're going to take all these charges if you don't have the set amount of money in the bank. Now we know how banks work with fractional reserve. We know what fractional reserve banking is. You put $100 in the bank, they can loan out 10 times that and all of that type stuff. But what I'm more getting at is right under our feet, gradually things are changing. So, we have to begin to look at those changes and what effects they may have on us. And then while we're doing that, we have to look at what is a alternative to it. So it's just really time to pay attention and tap into yourself, tap into your downloads, get your health right, eat right, because we don't know what's coming forward, and you need to have your body, your mind in the best shape you can have it in for what's coming forth.
And I think too, what's necessary now is we have the very tedious task of walking in two worlds.
Yes.
That for as much spirituality as we have and have access to and pursue, it has to be equally matched with common sense. You know, some things I don't even. Everybody has to examine where they are in their individual lives. You know, one thing that's going on a lot of now is that quote unquote thought leaders are putting out information based on what you ought to do. And I think it's very dangerous. You know, you don't know that whole thing of being in this world but not of the world, that shit is like really, really on Front Street right now. But at the same time, you have to weigh out where you are in your own life. For example, there's so many things I have to weigh about the way things are going based on the fact, if nothing else, I have 4 children. And some of the things that some of the shit just don't even be. You hear some of the shit people saying now, and it's like, well, this is what you ought to do. You just ought to such and such. You like, look, let's just say like my man on there telling people, if you go in the store and they tell you to put a mask on, make them call the police. And it's like, man, hold the fuck up, man. Hold on. Are you gonna? Then he turned around today and he said how he went in a store and somebody was tripping because he had his mask over his nose, and he told his wife, "Oh, I'll just go outside." Now, just the other day, you told people they can't put you out of the store because they don't have the right. You don't have to comply. Then you come back today and said you just decided just to leave on out. So this is the flip side of like mass broadcast has to be treated carefully because some people hold on every word that they favorite teacher said, which that's shame on them for being led by somebody to that degree. But it's a lot of shit going on right now. And it's a lot of grandstanding about the real reality is this. Don't nobody know what the fuck coming. Yeah. Don't nobody know. Swords Witch sound like she got it figured out. She said, I'm coming. That's who coming. All right. She got it figured out. Come back to that old I word, individualism. But you got anything else, Dap?
Nah, that's it for me, good brother.
Interesting times.
Yep.
Well, if you good, I'm gonna try to get off of here before 12 o'clock strike.
Yep. I'm good, man. Peace to all the people. Thanks for tuning in. I'm almost done cleaning. I'm going to the gym. I'll say one more thing before I end it. That I haven't had pressure on myself like this in a long time. And, with help of my mom, working, and I go to the gym after cleaning, trying to keep everything in focus. So, I've been here now, I've been stopping and all of that, but I'm about to go to the gym probably for an hour or so and go home and get some sleep and then help with my Dukes tomorrow. And, I was talking to my wife and Jamal about, when you so locked into your schedule and then your schedule's different, I don't have a complaining spirit, but it's different. Then you find ways that how can I still do what I do within this new schedule, you know? So where before I would maybe hit the gym at 11, 12, come home and then do my domestic thing, as they say. Now I work out after work. And I worked out all this week, since Monday night after work. So we could do shit. We just gotta push ourselves to it. We can do things, man. It's there. Um, Sometimes we get in the comfortability place, and it might callous, but we have the ability to push through and see results from it. So that's all I got, man. I'm going to the gym.
Right on. I think, yep, that's it. I think, in the midst of having these conversations, um,
Thanks, wifey. Yeah, she's funny.
I think the magic is being aware but continuing to do what you do,
Yes.
you know. And part of I think what's intended is for people, for everybody to become crippled, mentally crippled. And it's like it's the reality is like we don't know what the next twist and turn is, but
Right.
all you do have control over is what you're doing,
Yep.
you know. Um, you know, and and that is magical, you know. Um, but yeah, we appreciate all of y'all. Wise Feminine says she just finished the book. That's what's up. Appreciate you again. Um, we still gotta I still gotta get with you about, I wanna do Wise Feminine does voiceovers. So we're thinking about doing a audio version of the book.
Oh, that'll be dope.
So yeah. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, young E got to be able to adjust on the fly. You're right.
yeah,
And I'm telling you, that's why cleaning, not to be harping on the diet and all of that, but yo, I'm telling you, when we clean, it really flow. Now, that's just for me. I only know me. So I feel like when I'm clean, the flow is there.
yep.
But I only can speak for me. So, you know.
I want to come
But
back and do another discussion on the hips. It's a lot going on. It's a lot of things go on at the hips. Um, there's nerves that connect. Uh, um, the reptile brain to the pelvic bone. you know and so it's like even when our emotions change, our hips shift, and I mean it's a lot of shit going on down there, but we're gonna come back and do another. Maybe I'll try to do a live on that, but dark truth, take this last one. Do you pick one subject or couple pound the pavement, or you read by authors most of? I don't really have a system, man. To be honest, it's just um, I'm very ADD in the way I go about these things. I'll, on this side of me over here, I'll have a project, and I get this something in my mind I'm working on. I might have 6, 7 books, and I might be going and taking notes, and then when that's done, I get frustrated with the mess I've made. I'll clean it up, you know. Then I might go to some. I mean, I don't have no. There's no rhyme or reason to this, you know. It's just some Rain Man shit, I guess. It just be whatever's the my mind gets locked in on. But the thing I try to do was just build up the library with anything that I think would remotely ever be interested in. And sometimes it might be not till 5 years before you ever even, you know, pick up a book, or, some things
yeah, that's a fact.
you just know, and then sometimes you just use the book to confirm what you know, because the question is the answer. So, it's I don't even know, man. But yeah, man, that's all I got, bro.
Likewise.
Once again, we appreciate all of y'all tuning in. Oh, shout out to Jay. Jay sent a cash app. I appreciate that, brother. Um, and y'all see. Oh no, I put the wrong. My bad, man. I got the wrong one. Look, this the one that's supposed. I was wondering why. Let me This was supposed to be down here. Think Music. My bad. I was wondering why it came to my cash app. I'll send that over to the, because I think he normally sends something to the Think Music cash app. Um, but yeah, I have stacks of books everywhere except the bathroom. Real shit though. The study be great. Yeah, yeah. Young E be getting it in. Oh, Young E, let me show you something. Young E be putting me up on some heat. Tetrabiblos came in today, brother. I appreciate that. But um that's all I got. And we appreciate y'all. That's all we got. And we'll catch y'all on the next one. Till then, y'all stay up. So, peace.
Peace.